If this is your land, where are your stories? And what are your whispers? These authentically simple but profoundly gravid words are spoken as a title of Professor J. Edward Chamberlain's first book. He's the Emeritus Professor of English and Comparative Literature at the University of Toronto. And he was seeking the middle ground. Because you see, if we don't tell our stories, someone else will tell it in a manner that you may not like. Because if we don't think for ourselves, we place our future in the hands of others. It is up to us to create our own new world. What is going to be the story of South Africa's 31 years of democracy? Because the Afrikaner story is very easy and understandable. They wanted to eliminate the poor Afrikaner problem. By 1972, there was no such thing as a poor Afrikaner. They created the South African Post Office with one phone call. They called the Astron owners. And they said, we'll give you the contract of all the telephones that are needed by Telkom. Just so that just maybe, some of our young people might want to study information, communications, and technology. And a big conglomerate called the Alton Group was created. They knew and understood that they were beneficiaries of the English being in power, like black people pregnant in the kitchen and penniless. And they were given, not sold, 10% of General Mining. Out of that, they created General Corporation, which became Genco, ultimately merged with BHP Billiton as one of the biggest mining companies in the world. And that's why today they've got the gall to oppose all the transformative instruments that we're trying to put into operation, because they know the black people they've sent there to implement transformation are in their own pocket, because they're the beneficiaries of their own PE, and they have no backbone and they cannot speak back. The story of Afrikaner empowerment as told by Guillaume is the one that created most of these companies, the big ones, but also the small ones. They created the more than 734 state-owned enterprises and state-owned companies, and they hired their own who were unlearned and unlettered, and we made the Fantal Merve jokes about the people at the post office. We went to them to buy a stamp. All they did was to provide it to you and stamp it. They created, with one man called Van der Bijl, both ISCOR, but also the IDC. But this is the guy who also created ESCOM alone. He did that because his own government was behind him and gave him all the systems and the processes. And at Transnet, they produced artisans as fitters and tanners, millwrights and electricians. When they are unemployed, they have a garage full of tools, because to start your own business as a plumber, all you need is a third-hand van and just some tools. What story are we going to tell about our people when they wallow in the self-perpetuating vicious cycle of abject poverty? You see, today poverty has a complexion and it has a gender. Isn't it amazing that 31 years into democracy, poverty still has primarily a and feminine face? The people that have benefited the most in our 30 years of democracy are the Jewish people, the Afrikaner, especially the ones from Stellenbosch, and the Muslims, because they had capital. So as we gather today to celebrate 10 years of your creation, Liyanda, we should celebrate 10 times more, because we know the hoops we had to go through, the obstacles we had to go through, because even the people who call themselves our leaders were putting obstacles in your way so that you don't see the light of day, versus what other nations did. Those three populations have three secrets why their businesses are sustainable in the short term, whilst in the long term are building this notion of long-term resilience. In the interest of time, let me not bore you, but just share with you three of those secrets so that you can ask yourself a question when you leave out of here to say, if I'm selling insurance to people who have got an ability to buy, who am I going to sell my insurance to? The first secret, ask the question. Do you as a family and as a community regularly sit around the table to talk about how to make money? Number two, do you as a family and as a community buy from each other and one another? Last one, do you as a family and as a community invest in and refer business to each other and one another? There is no rocket science. That's how simple it is. But 31 years into democracy, businesses that are created by small and medium enterprises in South Africa is worse than that of our BRICS counterparts. We chose to be part of the global South in the BRICS nation. New jobs created by SMEs are north of 60 percentage points in this country, south of 16%. In Singapore, you open a new business in 2 hours. In this country, it takes you 36 months, 350,000 rand later. In Singapore, if at 350,000, you have bought goods to sell for which you can post a profit. But that you opened your business at the time that we not good business people because we are lazy. We good on our own, but we better when we are together. But we get no help. And during the Second World War, the black soldiers who came back from the war were given two choices. You either have a jazz coat in English or a bicycle, not both end together at the same time, simultaneously, concurrently, in parallel. It was a choice. The white male Afrikaners were given firearms. And you wonder why they're doing well. And remember, we formed the ANC in 1912 after we were excluded from the electoral system at that time. We went on the 27th of June 1955 in Cape Town to form the Freedom Charter with 10 principles. The 9th principle talks about, and the people who have the land shall own it. The 8th principle says the doors of learning shall be open. Now, unfortunately, the story of South Africa is going to be the one where we occupy and hold the world record for all the wrongs. At 5 to midnight on the 27th of April 1994, the municipality of Stellenbosch gives white male Afrikaners farms on a 99 acres. And some of the biggest farming names we know, and black people went buy their ones and they keep it in their cell. 99 acres. Not far from here, on the N3, on the new road, the Baird family gets given by the municipality a piece of land on an 8-year lease on a Tuesday. They pay less than 200,000 for this piece of land. The same week, they go to the modern day Astron. That's where they have two service stations are. It's called the double header on both sides of New Road. This company used to be called Caltex before. It was owned by Chevron Texaco. The same week, they go to Chevron Texaco, Caltex. And Caltex pays them 5 million rand in cash to operate the filling station on the piece of land that is owned by the municipality. That's their grandfather who started that business on the land that belongs to Caltex. Their granddaughter now, Miss Bird, gets an income of 5 million a month just as rental from both of these service stations. What is your own black government that looks like you done for their own industrialist programs, other than steal from the mouth of the young, the sick, and the dying during our most trying period in COVID-19? I said we now hold the world record for all the wrong reasons. You spoke about unemployment here. The chairman also spoke about unemployment. But our unemployment is so bad that we even hide it because we are ashamed of it. The same way that the National Party used to hide the deterioration of their rand. They had two currencies. The one was called the fin rand for financial rand. The other one was called the commercial rand. So that if the world turns against them, they can quote the one that they like. Today, we have our own definition of unemployment, not the one by the ILO, which is a global definition subscribed to by 198 countries. We exclude those people that have given up looking for a job for the last 36 months. With 750 days of national lockdown, who would be looking for a job? With that definition, unemployment is 32.6%. I'm amongst family here. At 33%, it's still worse than countries at war. It's worse than in Tunisia that gave us the Arab Spring that deposed not one but 5 heads of states, including that of Egypt, who's been in power for 33 glorious years. Started with self-immolation. But the country with the highest unemployment rate in the world, and our politicians even speak in tongues and they say we've got triple challenges. We don't. We have one challenge, and our challenge is jobs. Just like China is clear about their challenges, it's 1.4 billion people problem. That's all they're saying. Because you see, it's the stubbornly high levels of unemployment that then leads to increasing levels of poverty and increasing levels of unemployment. So the root cause is jobs. It's so easy, even I remember it. So when the president stands on the State of the Nation address and he rattles through 39 priorities, in business as leaders, we know that when everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. But we are the country also with the highest GBVF rate in the world, not by a factor of 2, but 5 times the global average. Because as a people with great natural endowments, we haven't given ourselves time just to deal with our collective trauma. That I'm standing between you and Dina. Mandibulele ngokusithobileyo nongazenzisiwe. Sibambe ngazo zozibili esengibhodisile. Wena mhlekazi wami umuhle sole uqhubhe uzabhujelwa yini. You are in a beautiful, sexy business where you're upskilling our people, because when one state depends, the midnight oil one gains access to the domain of knowledge and wisdom, the world of healing, the world that cannot be conquered without the persistent crusade. If this is your land, where your stories?
Mm.